is popping? What's cracking, you guys? How's everyone's evening today? Should I say that it's going to be a short stream? Because you guys don't take me seriously when I do. Howdy doody, everyone. Hi, Gretchen. I'll be back tomorrow at my normal time, so that should be easier for you. Thank you for coming through. I appreciate you. Let me see. I was trying to get a better placement here. And I did download. I downloaded the LUT. So the light is actually brighter, but it looks like I got some tan. And that's because of the LUT. So I want to show you guys the LUT as well. Moved around the microphone a little bit. I'm not really centered, but I think once the scene goes to the next scene, I think I'll be centered. And let's hope that the chair doesn't make me sink and stuff. Oh. Hi, Paul. Funny talking to you again. How are you?
Sorry, I couldn't understand, but I may have a few recommendations. First, there's a skill called Pikachu.
Alexa, stop.
You can say, try it, or hear next.
Echo, stop. I don't even know why. Somebody call Angie. Someone call Angelica. I don't even know why that started doing that. She said something about Pikachu. What? Right? Nobody even said her name. Like, what? And she was ready to go in and do a whole listing. What's up, Kevin? How are you doing today? So I feel like this is more the lighting and stuff like that, a little bit more up my alleyway. Still working with the tripod issue. Because now I feel like I'm a little like I'm sitting naturally and I feel like I'm a little off kilter. So, but that's all right. Let me see. 20 seconds to go. I gotta fix that timer, but that's all right. It'll zoom out on its own. So that's this side. That makes sense, right? Because the light is on this side. So maybe, yeah, it would look a little bit better. And, you know, the camera does its own adjustments. And if there were maybe one other light to kind of offset, you know, 3-point lighting and all. But I think this looks definitely much better than what it has the last couple of days. So what that does for me is that I gotta have Angie actually sit before I leave and look at it from her perspective. It's much easier now because she does have the MacBook. And so I can have her, when she calls me, I can have her use virtual camera, use eCam, right? And set everything up. So if we need to use a LUT, if we need to figure out some stuff, it'll be easier to have a little bit more control instead of just, you know, the camera and then kind of that's it. So let's see. Yeah, like Alexa was, let me not say the name before she starts talking again. What's cracking, Dwayne? How are you doing today? What's poppin'? Gretchen says, I betted your story. Stop by to relax. What? Okay. Spent way too long battling lost files in Lightroom today, so I'm taking a break. Okay, good. Take a break. We're going to go over some cool things. Analytics stuff, some cool things. I don't know if it's necessarily cool, but you guys are nerds like me. So anything I think it's cool, I think you guys will think it's cool. Kevin says, a lady was going off on me earlier here. Why? Were they going off? What happened? Okay. Paul says, what time, Paul, not listening to his own. If you have a question for India, don't forget to put the Q colon in front of it. Otherwise, it's just a comment. I know it'll come next. He says, what time are you planning? What is your plan for tomorrow? Probably, what time are you planning to live stream? What's the plan for tomorrow? So I'm leaving here tomorrow morning. I just have to do the Waze checks. Did you guys know for Waze that you can put in the day that you're looking to leave? So like tomorrow, I can plan my trip tonight and it'll give me like estimated traffic. And I've been doing this probably for a year now, probably longer, but absolutely have been doing it for a year since Angie and I started our long distance relationship. And it's usually pretty spot on. It works very well with whatever analytics and data that it gets. It's pretty spot on. So I'll be home way before the stream. So to answer the question in short, tomorrow, and I actually scheduled it already. So tomorrow, this live stream will be back to its normal time at 7 p.m. It's probably going to be a quick hi and bye because tomorrow is the first day of the Ecamm on Deck live webinar. If you guys just want to switch over and jump to that, you can, Paul will put the link in the description. It's indiad.live/Ecamm on Deck. He'll put the link in the chat. If you guys want to jump in, I actually did an outline. We can talk about that today. So I knew, but I'm like a master procrastinator. So I knew what I was going to talk about. I did have to put it in the bullets for the emails that I sent out. But like I actually sat down today with Notability, my pen and paper, my trusty, and using my iPad mini. Let me see. I don't need my pencil. So let's take a look at this. Okay, it's doing what it does. It's doing the, let me move my face out the way. You can't see. That's a bad, there you go. So the white 2 notes for, you see there's one that's at 702. That's downloading from the cloud because I usually do my notes on the iPad Pro. So as soon as that downloads, I'll show you guys the outline, but the class starts at 8. So I just want to make sure Paul and I were testing. We were testing some things with the Zoom link. The Zoom link did go out today. That was an adjustment that I made in Kajabi because the default, how we were going over the other day, the default string of email sequence with Kajabi, they don't send the link till the day of. They don't insert it in the emails till the day of. And for someone like me that I'm a planner, I like to have it on my calendar. That was driving me crazy because I didn't even know. Like I literally had to click on every email to see that it was the day of the event. And I'm like, oh my God, like that's not. So I went in and I made my own adjustments and I sent the email, the link today. And then it's also being sent out tomorrow. And in the title of the email, it's link for the Ecamm, Zoom link for Ecamm on Deck, whatever it is. But Paul and I were testing it. And it's so weird. Paul was having an issue that from the link, it was asking him for a password. And so in my experience, if you are using, and I went and after me and Paul got off the phone, I Googled password, Zoom, all of that good stuff. And so by default, if you have the link, the invitation link, it's not supposed to ask you. It's supposed to bypass the password. I tested it from my cell phone on my end and it put me directly in. So that was weird. So we were just doing some tests like that. And I want to make sure, the reason why I say that is because tomorrow definitely is going to be probably a 15-minute stream at most, because I want to make sure that I have the Zoom up and running, that I have the Ecamm comments open. I'm paying attention to emails just in case someone else who registered kind of has a similar issue. The password is Ecamm fam. That's literally what the password is. But you guys know how it is with technology. People may not see it. They may miss it or whatever the case may be. Paul, after we got off the phone, it does not let me remove the password altogether. That's what made me check it. So I figured I'm going to leave it like this. But now I know for next time I got to see how I can. It's good to know. It's good to do testing and stuff like that. But what I want to do is okay, so here's another question for you guys. I set this webinar up as a regular Zoom. And then after the fact, now I've been thinking, should I have set it up like in a webinar style format? So when you do kind of a webinar style format, you guys may or may not know, but basically a webinar format through Zoom is that it's just basically the speaker and whoever else you invite to the panel and things like that. As guest speakers. And so we won't see the cameras of the participants per se. You can choose to turn off and on chat. You can choose to turn off and on questions. So that makes it a little bit easier when you're teaching something with less interruptions and things like that. You can kind of just go straight through. So I initially did it and this is where I'm at with it because it's not done as a webinar, but I'm kicking between, do I change the upcoming ones to a webinar style format? Because, so my concern, I think it's good to do it in a Zoom style format because then it gives people the ability to be a little bit more interactive, right? So you follow along. I'm going to be sharing my screen to have the Stream Deck menu open. I'll have a camera offset on the actual physical, or I'll probably switch between the camera on the Stream Deck and then doing a screen share to show what it looks like when you're configuring the menu itself. My concern with that is that this is supposed to be a 30-minute class. It's a free webinar. And so it's going to be a focus on Ecamm. So we're going to be going over like the Ecamm popular plugins. We're going to go over Zoom, royalty-free music, and then a bonus plugin. I think I have to look at the agenda. But my concern is that by not having it as a webinar style format, people can technically unmute themselves and ask questions. And I don't want to say derail it because that's a bad thing, but something that can really truly be done in 30 minutes can be stretched out to an hour. I wouldn't do it more than an hour, but let's say can be stretched out to 45 minutes, can be stretched out to an hour. So that's what I've been battling with. So let me check in on you guys in the comments over here. Paul says, my hand has been slapped. I just like to mess with you because you're such a good moderator and you're so good at remembering so that when you go straight into it, it's like, hey, Mr. Moderator, hold on. My mind went in two directions on the previous. That's okay. Don't worry about it. You need one of those tiny square Ulanzi lights for just a little bit. Right? So right over here, that's a good idea. So like the one that I have back there, and then she can put it somewhere like on a little, she has a good amount of places. Or like I said, she can even put it on the wall because that's light enough that she can use like the command strips and put it on the wall and mount it so that she gets a little bit just for right over here, right in this corner. Good idea. Thank you. A lady. Oh, got it. Okay. Yes. I thought that's what you meant, but I wasn't sure. That's funny. Paul is now reminding you guys, if you have a question for India, your question should look like this. Otherwise, it's just a comment, Q:. There is the link for the webinar registration for tomorrow. Thank you so much. And if you can't make it for tomorrow, just register because I'm actually going to be doing these for the entire month of May, every Thursday at 8 p.m. The stuff is going to stay the same. So the outline itself is going to stay the same. It's just if someone can't make it this Thursday and to kind of just drum up, obviously, activity. And then I will be I'm finalizing the specifics with Katie now. I'll probably have more to you guys. The latest is by Sunday or early next week. But Katie and I are in communications of what the 5-year anniversary for the Stream Deck looks like in terms of dates, live stream and things like that. I think I have some ideas that I want. I just have to run them by her and see what she's cool with. But it's definitely going to be, and I did some more research. Stream Deck, the 5-year Stream Deck anniversary is May 15th. So, and that's a Sunday. So that works. But I'll have, once I review with Katie my outline and what I would like to do, and I partner with her, then I'll be able to share that with you guys. But because I'm going live in Ecamm and possibly to the YouTube channel, I think that's how we're going to kind of do it, with a little bit of a takeover and things like that. that's why I want to make sure that I do it for the month of May, because then the people who may not necessarily see the post, but they are on the YouTube channel and we talk about it and stuff like that, they can maybe go to, if they missed the first half, they can register and sign up for the second half. So, Kevin says, question, got some new in-ear monitors. Now, when I plug into my Rodecaster Pro, it's got a really bad noise floor and hiss. Is that normal? No, not normal. Never noticed in recordings, but it's really odd, like listening to you now. Definitely not normal. Shouldn't happen at all. I mean, are they long cables? Is the cable from the headphone, is it running possibly over some power lines, like a USB-C cable or something like that? You want to make sure your headphone cable isn't somewhere laying on top of another power cable. If not, you may need to get a different pair. And on my Rodecaster Pro, I've connected it to the bottom in the front, and I've also connected my headphones to the number 1 jack in the back, and I never get noise floor. So check that out. Let's see. Ooh, Kevin says, we ran into Zoom password issue with Jacqueline this morning for a podcast she was on. That's interesting. So you had the link and it was asking for a passcode? Because then that might have been, so it's funny because Paul was telling me, I think it was today. I don't know. I talk to Paul now a few times a day since he's been helping me out with my 100 days of live streaming. So it's like, I know that I was talking to Paul at some point. I talk to Paul every day, whatever day with the topic. But I know that we were talking that Zoom also did some updates and they added some things. But you know what it means? Sometimes when they do updates, they usually bring in bugs. So I thought, could Paul's issue have been maybe that it was a bug issue? So that's good to know. They have been recording via Zoom for years. They have had password issues. The last 4 episodes, Zoom must be up to something. Yeah, definitely. Because so by default, I have a password and it's go live exclamation. I did change it for this meeting that I scheduled, but I always have a password and I've never had anyone ask me for it. And even with links that I've had to log in, and it says it, like when you Google it, it says, by default, Zoom will bypass the password if you're using the Zoom invite link. So when you'll be required, the way it's supposed to work is when you'll be required to enter in a password is if you have the meeting ID number and you're typing that in, let's say to like the web or something like that, because for whatever reason, you don't have the link. When you type in the meeting ID number, that's when it's going to ask you, that's when it forces you. And I wouldn't be surprised with that behavior. But when clicking from the link that it says launch Zoom and stuff like that, it's not supposed to ask for the password. So Paul and I were trying to figure that out earlier today. Hey girl, hey, how you doing? All right. Todd, I still don't have the sound effect because I'm not back home, but ho, ho, ho. How are you doing today, Todd? I'll be back home tomorrow and then we can get the original ho, ho, ho just for you. Glad you are here, my friend. Let's see. Kevin, I don't have that problem with my in-ear monitors. Yep. Keep it webinar style to avoid that sidetracking. I agree. And I was so annoyed with myself that I know better because you guys know that I do this also for the bank with conducting financial literacy. And when I set up the regular meeting after the fact, I was like, oh. And with the way Kajabi does their OVO, when you're creating the initial OVO, you're putting your link in at the very beginning. Paul, I didn't explain this to you, but that was why, because that would be an easy solution to just go in, delete that meeting, add a new one. But the problem is that Kajabi, when you're building out that pipeline, when you do it from scratch, that's actually the very first thing that it asks for. It asks you for the Zoom link. And from what I've been looking, there's no way to go back and edit the link. So that's why I was like, all right. And so the solution when I was talking to Paul is that I can go in and I saw that the link is posted in the email that was sent out today and the email that'll be sent out tomorrow. So in theory, I can change it tonight to a webinar style format. And as soon as I get that link, I can go in and delete the original Zoom link and paste the new one, if that makes sense, if you were able to follow what I just said. But that's why I didn't have that initial, all right, I'll just go, because it seems near impossible to my understanding. You can't just go in and edit. Like, I can go in to Kajabi and edit the time. I can edit the date. I can edit how often it is a recurring sequence. But I didn't see where the link, like I posted it or I put it into Kajabi when I set up that OVO, and then it disappeared. Like, I don't see it anywhere else until I'm going through the email sequences. And then that's where it is, where they posted it into that template of the email sequence. So I'm like, I'm just afraid I don't want to confuse people if I do that and have it be more of a headache than not. So, Paul says, I would say go with the way you have the Zoom set up and then decide if you want to change it going forward. And that's what I said, right? Because I recognized it early on, as soon as I built out the OVO, that I could have just deleted the OVO before I made the posting in Ecamm 2 days ago. I could have deleted it and then just done it again as a webinar. And so with what Paul is saying, that's why I was like, you know what, let's test it out. Let's see, let's leave it as a regular format. Right now, there's 13 people registered so far for tomorrow. Coincidentally, the only one that's from Paul doesn't count, because we know that Paul's going to be there. Paul supports me. I asked him if he can be a co-host. So Paul is registered, but I'm not counting Paul for it. The only one that is going to be a friendly face that I know, and I don't mean this in a bad way, I think it's actually a good thing, is going to be Gabe. Gabe just registered. I think earlier today he registered. Everyone else of the 13 registrants are all brand new people from the Ecamm Facebook community that I haven't really had the opportunity to interact with. So for me, for someone that's growing my business, looking to grow my community, looking to obviously talk about my master classes, that's actually a really good thing, because I love you guys. I talk to you guys every single night. But if it was my 13 registrants were the same 13 of you guys that show up every single night, it'd be like, all right, guys, can you help me find a new community? Like, I love you guys. Keep coming. But let's get some more new people in the mix. So that was actually really exciting as well. I was happy about that. Hey, girl. Hey, where are you? I told Angie to just hang out in that corner of the bed, like back there. Right afterwards, you can't see it. She has a whole king size bed. So I'm like, if you're literally like on that side right there, they won't see you and you can hang out and then you can talk and they'll be able to hear you, because everyone loves Angie. Gosh. Hey, Sammy Superstar, how are you? What is cracking? What's up, K-Walk? How are you? Everybody saying hello to each other. Ooh, so you're using, so you know what? I have the Shure, what did I say? The 215s, the S215s, I think. I love them. I'm leaving Angie with these. This has the extension cable. They're great, but she's nowhere like online and using headphones as much as I do. So I've even noticed, since I've been streaming with these the last, Friday I've been here, since last week, even with the comfort, for as long as I've been streaming, like they're kind of like, they've been bothering my ear, where I've been using the Shores for like 4 or 5 months now. I haven't had that issue. I actually noticed that today, that the cartilage around my ears were a little tender. And then, like I mentioned last week at some point, the quality of the ME6s compared to the Shores are nowhere near as good. Like, you pay double the price, and I can see the immediate value in it. The extension cable is nowhere, or the cable itself is nowhere near as long. And I was thinking about getting a separate extension cable. Todd, if you can, before the evening is up or before you leave, if you can put that in the link, the one that you have. Because I was just hesitant, like just adding an additional cable on top of a cable. It's like, you got to be careful with that stuff, especially when you're adding for what we do, right? Whether it's with the image quality, so adding an HDMI extension cable, you risk losing, as you make a cable longer, you risk losing quality. The video quality, the same thing with audio. But if you haven't had any issues, I'd love to test it out. So Gretchen coming through for question in the right format. Thanks, Gretchen. Says, what is the splitter brand you use for headphones and lavalier. So I ended up getting, well, both. I had the old school Rode SC6, which is the headphone adapter, but then you have to use the lightning to headphone if you're using it for an iPhone or something like that. The SC6, the Rode SC6 is like $20, $25. But then I ended up upgrading to the Rode AI Micro, and I still have to do a video on that. I ended up updating to the Rode AI Micro, and that it's $70. And I was fighting spending that $70 because I had the SE6, right? And I was like, I don't need it. I used it back when Clubhouse was so popular. That's what I was using. I connected the Rode video mic to my iPhone. I had it on a little tripod. I used the SE6, the TRRS cable, connected everything, and I got great feedback from it. And I know that based off of my setup, Lewis, Mr. Camera Junkie, also did a similar setup. He sounded great. So I had the pieces from the Clubhouse days. And then I got the Rode Wireless Go's, which are, USB-C, right? And then as I started doing more research with using the Rode Connect app, which is a virtual Rodecaster Pro, what really made me pull the trigger with the SE6 is that when you connect, the SE6 has a DSP, a digital sound processor built into that small piece. So what that does is that when you connect and I wish I had it, it's in the car. Yeah, it's in the car. But what that small piece does, and this is why it is so much more expensive than the SE6, is that because of you're paying for the digital sound processor, is that when you connect the Rode AI Micro to your computer and you open up the Rode Connect app, it gives you all of the audio processing features that you get when you get a Rodecaster Pro. So then in theory, that $70 small adapter turns your computer into a $500 audio interface. And so it's a splitter. You can connect the headphone jack, and then it turns on the noise gate, the Aphex, the big bottom. It gives you all of that stuff. And so when I read that and I did the research, I was like, all right. And then the other piece of it is that it is USB-C. So for all of us that have MacBooks, it's an easy connection. And what you get in the package is that you actually get all three adapters that you would need. So for those of us that have iPhones, it comes with a USB-C to iPhone Lightning adapter that will work directly with your iPhone and the AI Micro. It comes with a USB-C to USB-C to USB-C adapter. So like whether it's the iPad or someone who has an Android phone, you can connect it that way. And then, or to like our MacBooks, or it comes with a regular USB-A to USB-C. And you can connect that to like a Windows computer or the older MacBooks or a dock or something like that through your regular USB. So I would say having used both, having Fight. Do you hear that? The dog is outside. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. The dog is outside and he's trying to get in. Outside in the hallway, not outside in the streets. I wouldn't do that, guys. But having had both and then upgrading to the Rode, and then because I have the NTG and its other microphones, right? I was like, all right, let me spend the $70 and seeing the value in what you get if you're going to use it the way I have. It absolutely is worth the $70 to have the three adapters, because then you future-proof yourself, right? Everything for the most part is they're trying to transition. Look at Apple, how Apple finally transitioned their iPads to USB-C. Hopefully at some point they'll at one point go from the iPhones from Lightning to USB-C, right? So having all three different cables, you kind of future-proof yourself with whatever it is. And it works. It does what it does. I just was trying to avoid spending that $70. So Kevin says, yes, we had the direct link. Zoom asked for a password and the hosts were saying they never had to do this before. Good. I'm glad I wasn't the only one. Just checking back on you with the comments and stuff, because I was really like confused. And I told Paul, can we check this right now? Because I'm more concerned for tomorrow. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh my God, I hope that this is not a thing. I think that's what happened when they shared the clickable meeting ID. All right, you guys are talking to each other. Cool, good. Obs, I'm so glad because I meant to, when I launched this, you were one of the first people that I was like, Obs, sign up. This is like perfect. It'll at least get you some stuff. And we'll go over the little bit of the outline today. You guys get a IMB unfriendly if needed. What? Paul, what? Okay, anyway, I'll leave you guys alone. Let me see. Nobody puts Angie in the corner of the bed. Todd, you're so funny. That was good. I wish I had my sound effects. That was perfect. Nobody puts Angie in the corner of the bed. I love that. Let me see. All right, cool. Thank you. And I think you gave that to me, so I have to buy it. I'll buy that tonight, Paul. Thank you. Angie was laughing at the comment. Never had a problem. I have. Okay, good. So that's what I need, because you guys see when I'm like moving around in the studio at home, I'm like always like, hold on, ripping my damn ear off. So I'll buy that tonight. Lewis, I was just talking about you. I don't know if you heard. I was talking about you back when we were all jumping on Clubhouse and you had gotten the adapter, the SE6, and we were talking about it because you wanted to know how I connected my external microphone to the iPhone. And then you went and you did your own setup because we were talking about pricing and value and stuff like that. So the interface... The Rode AI Micro. It's either AI Micro or AL Micro, but I think it's AI Micro. Don't judge me. Rode, I'm going to say it's AI/micro. Yes. I might have it on my kit.co page. Paul, if you can put in the kit.co link. On there. I think I haven't. I feel like because I just added it. I just updated a bunch of stuff on my kit.co page there. Right. And that's what it was. And then especially for the price, because that stuff was also hard to find last year as well. The SE6 was something, those adapters were like hard to come by. So we were all struggling, and not all of us, like I had the Rodecaster Pro, but I didn't want to go through all of that stuff. Lewis was just getting his setup, so he did not have the Rodecaster Pro, and he was definitely going in. We all were going in heavy with Clubhouse and stuff like that. We wanted to, of course, sound as great as possible. And so I remember he did that. There you go. The Rode AI Micro. There you go. It is AI. It's so weird because it's like a capital I, which could be a lowercase L. And I'm like, am I? And then, for me with the videos and stuff, I'm like, am I saying this wrong? Is some troll going to come get me on YouTube because it's really AL Micro? And they're going to be like, no, dummy. Like, anyway. And they're going to say it just like that. No, dummy. I recommend the AI Micro over the 100% over the SE6. Exactly. Now that you have it right, like it worked for us, Paul, Lewis and I, we absolutely love the SE6. It worked great. You connect your headphones, you connect your mic. It did what it was supposed to do. It was just a bunch of different, right? Because it was the lightning to headphone adapter. Then the SE6. Wait, hold on. Nope. It was the iPhone to lightning adapter. The TRRS cable into the lightning adapter, and then the other end into the SE6, and then your microphone. Yeah, something like that. It was crazy. Anyway, Pastor Vaughn, what's cracking? At a conference this week and shared your Stream Deck link with someone who mentioned they were frustrated figuring out how to go. See, Judah. Had to do all the karate things without knocking my head off. And knocking this, and also without knocking the camera. So I appreciate you. Thanks so much, Pastor Vaughn. That means a lot. It's not in your kit list. All right, cool. So I got to add that. Thanks, Paul. So let's see. Okay, so I was waiting for the note. Oh, that's so weird. Okay, there it is. It popped up. So this is for Stream Deck Day. Nope, we're not sharing that because I got to go through that stuff with Katie. But for the free mini webinar masterclass that we're going to be doing on Thursdays and I'm like, I was looking at it and I was like, all right, India, you have to do this and I don't care. Like if I go over, it's 40 minutes, 45 minutes, it's not a big deal. I just want to make sure that I explain the stuff and I'm also not rushing through it. So for someone, because like Gabe, I was yelling at him. I wish he was here tonight, but like Gabe Gabe DeLeon, he still has his Stream Deck in a box. And I'm like, Gabe, how? Like, how do you have it? So there are people who, and I know I have to actually reach out to him, Marcelio. I had helped him with Loop back, and we were talking, and that was his priority. And after I helped him and we got Loop back up and running, he was like, India, I have a Stream Deck too, but it's still in the box. I was like, what? Like, it's so mind blowing to me. Me, Doc, and Paul, we all laugh about that. Because people will put in the comments in the Facebook group that they have a Stream Deck and it's literally still in the box and they don't know how to use it. So for me, when I was building out the agenda, trying to keep that in the forefront, I'm like, all right, so I need to go over what the Configure Stream Deck app is, the menu itself. Let me see, we're 35 minutes in, so I can do a little bit of a screen share. We can go there and you guys can, like I said, you guys can get this sneak peek. So I can walk you through this really quick. Hold on. Let's put this on this page over here. Okay, cool. And let me see what this looks like. All right. Yeah. And just bring this up a little bit. All right. Right. So this is it's called Configure Stream Deck. It's a Stream Deck menu. So I'm going to make sure that I at least explain that. You have to have that open because when you customize your Stream Deck, if you don't have this, you can't do anything unless you have this, and you need to know what's what. So we're going to go over that there, understanding the different options between your profile, quick review of the Stream Deck store, because in order to get the Ecamm Live plugin, again, I'm thinking about it for the people that still have the Stream Deck in the box. Chances are very probable that they do not have the Ecamm Live plugin. However, Ecamm has it set up that as soon as you connect your Stream Deck, it will download the plugin for you automatically. A pop-up pops up, but I want to walk them through how to get it from the plugin store. And we got to go to the store, which is this button over here. So this is the store. And then from the store, you have your plugins, so you can search from within your store. So if we type in Ecamm, you see it's there. For those of the people that don't have it installed, it'll say an install plugin just like this. You install it, and then it shows up in your Configure Stream Deck here, like so. I'm like, I feel really old, guys, because I'm like, all right, this is really small. Let me turn this in landscape mode so I can actually read it now. So we're going to look over that. We're going to the plugins, searching for plugins, and then showing how to download Ecamm Live plugin. So one of the things I actually counted, and the Ecamm Live plugin itself has 28 buttons that you can customize. So this whole list that I'm scrolling through, there's 28 individual buttons that you can use from within Ecamm, which is fantastic. Excuse me. I don't have OBS, but what we can do is, just so I can show you, if we compare it to like OBS. Hey. Oh, I think I know why. I think because it actually, let's do this. So you click on this button here, and it's actually, what's the word? I unactivated them. So let's activate these so we can look at Streamlabs, OBS, and Twitch. Done. So if we open up OBS, there are 5 buttons for OBS. Streamlabs, there are 5 buttons. And Twitch, there are also 5. So, and it's very simple, right? Very rudimentary. There's your scene, your mixer, which is your sound, your mute. That's how it works in OBS. Record, which is like our record or go live or something like that. The stream, and then the source, which is what they call technically like the camera overlay and things like that. Super rudimentary when you're looking at it from Ecamm Live, where it's literally everything that you can do, almost everything that you can do within Ecamm itself. And this is the twins did that. So they use the codec from Ecamm, and they actually create, or someone, not necessarily the twins, someone that works for Ecamm works on this stuff for us, which I think is amazing. So within the Ecamm Live plugin, we're going to go over what I think are the most important scenes that you would need to know that I can teach you from a mini masterclass. a free one. My full-blown masterclass actually goes over every single button. It's about a 15-minute video, which I'm going to add to because then I'm going to be more specific. But anyway, that's a whole nother topic. So we're going to go over the running scenes option, which is this button here. And so that's my second line. And what that does is that as I press it, these are the buttons will choose and point you to if I can speak, the run scenes button will point to a specific scene. So I use my run scene buttons for the scenes that I use all of the time, right? So like my intro, I use the same intro for every single live stream. For my main scene, my screen share, and then the end scene, right? So that's where you would want to use your run scene. And then just showing the difference between run scene and next and previous scene. So with this particular setup, and this is for my iPhone, for the Stream Deck XL at home, when I have a folder. So what I do is at home in the studio, I actually use folders to match the folders in Ecamm. So what does that mean? So like I have the folder for 100 days of live streams, but I also have a folder for my work, my bank, my first time home buyer stuff. So then it kind of mirrors it on the Stream Deck, where then is a folder. It's called CB first time home buyer. And then within that folder, I direct it to the specific scenes that I use, but then I also use the next and previous scene. And that's because I usually will switch back and forth between the two, and I don't want to be able to look at which button is which for which scene. So I like to be able to quickly, okay, previous scene, if that makes sense. Showing hiding overlays, right? So like I have it at home where I show and I hide my countdown timer for how many days we have left to go. Someone specifically asked for that in the post that I created. They said they were having struggles with how to use that. So I'm going to go over that. The camera switcher, I think, is important to go over. I do have that set up. So if you only are using one camera, then it's not going to necessarily matter unless you have like an iPhone or even like your webcam. It works kind of like, the way I like to compare the camera switcher is it's kind of like a built-in A10 mini. The only difference is that you don't have preview mode. Like A10 mini does a lot more than just being a camera switcher. But if you have, like how I have at home, I have 3 cameras. I have the overhead shot, I have my main shot, and then I have the shot that's behind my shoulder. I actually have 3 buttons I actually have 4, because then I have the vertical iPhone camera. So I have 4 camera switcher buttons that I can choose between them. So that can be pretty cool. But the one thing to note is that when you're having, so like if I were to build that out here or in this scene here, the camera switcher won't work. The only time the camera switcher works is if it's in a main, like a blank scene. So like kind of in this scene here where it's full screen and the camera itself is the overlay. You're not using a camera overlay. So if we go back, this here is using a camera overlay, right? I have the overlay, the graffiti overlay that we created in Canva. Then I threw a camera overlay onto it. The camera switcher won't work to switch the overlays for your cameras, if that makes sense. I hope that made sense. Adding and hiding comments, because that's really popular. So if we go back, right, I have that here. So if I press the button, it's going to automatically add, you need an unlock the door button for Paul, to let Paul out of the laundry room. You're right. But I think that that's really popular when you're doing any type of live stream, whether it's to Facebook, whether it's to YouTube or to LinkedIn, just to bring up the very last comment. That is, I use that all of the time with you guys. And then I'm going to go over some of so let's see, I showed you the next previous scene. I showed you, that's the button for showing hiding overlay. The camera switcher is, so if we go back here really quick, let me just do a whole new page. Just to show you what this looks like. So run scene, you choose run scene. And then what this does is that this opens up every single, so you can see this whole Oh, you're not seeing. Sorry. Hold on. Sorry. Let me go back here. My bad. I got to go back to the screen share. There you go. Let me see if this works. Okay. Click on that. Does this pop up? It does. Okay, good. So what I was saying was what I did was I dragged run scene over here. So I'll do it again now that you guys can see. Where are you? So drag run scene. Once you drag the run scene, it's going to automatically choose the default scene that you're currently on. If you want to change that, you just click the drop down, and then within the drop down, these are all the scenes that I have. If you see here, like this is bolded, that's a folder, right? So like I have, if we go to, like I still have the setup with Gigi from when I had her on the show. And so I called the folder Gigi, and it's, you can see me and Gigi big, India small, right? Like whatever that looks like. So you can direct it to whatever specific scenes that you want. So we're just going to do that there. Same exact thing with your showing and your hiding overlays. So you have your overlays, it defaults to the very top one. But then as you do overlays, so we have, like I had done this one for Mr. Camera Junkie when he was on. And so if I press on that, I don't know what that does, because that might be the wrong one. Did that do anything? That didn't do anything, because I don't think I have anything there. If I go back, let me see. New group, Twitter, maybe here. And if I do that, I don't know why that's not working, but I don't really use it because I kind of did a half-ass job at it. But when I do the stream tomorrow, I'm going to show you, like, I'll show you a real hide overlay. So if we do, right, like I have the days to go, that's this one here. So you guys should see on the screen, yeah, I got my 48 days to go. And if I click on it, now that unhides it on the Stream Deck, and then that hides it again. That's the way it's supposed to work. But I think I didn't set up those overlays the right way. That's why they didn't show up. And then obviously showing and adding a comment here. I actually just do add last comment. I don't use hide last comment, because you guys know with Ecamm, you can choose whatever time that is for you for the comment to automatically go off on its own. So I don't waste a button on hide last comment, because I'm either, as comments come through, I'm either adding the most comment by pressing it again, or it's going to automatically drop off, right? So like if I bring up Paul's comment again on the screen, there's no other comments right now. So I can just leave that on the screen and it's going to fall off. I think I chose it after 10 seconds. And then Gabe, I was talking about you. You came in a little bit late. What's cracking, Gabe? How are you? I was saying how you, said you still have your Stream Deck in the box. And I was like, what? How? I threw a little bit of shade, but it was good shade. Anyway. And how does your Stream Deck have 64 buttons? Paul, what? Pastor Vaughn says, if someone still has a Stream Deck still in the box, just drop it off and mail it to me. Right. Exactly. My Stream Deck is still at the store. But Todd, your Loop Deck is still in the box. So you're another one that it's like, why, guys? Why? But that was good. Anyway. Let's see. There you go. That's the order. Lightning. I'm just going back to your comments and stuff. Let me see. So, and then the only other options, because I don't use them, even with having guests the way I was having guests last year every Saturday. And now that I'm bringing Ladies Night back and bringing guests, by the way, Gigi will be on this Saturday. Very excited for that. Mary Lou Mandel just signed up for May 7th. Also very excited for that. And Kali Chocolate Twist Yoga will be on the following week, which I think is May 12th. And I'm waiting for K-Walk to give me a date. So we're getting some stuff. We're getting some roundup there. But I can see other people that may use it. So you have your solo guest option. You have your add guest left or add guest right. And all that does is that, again, I'm just going to go into the new scene. So it has to be one of these scenes here. I got to turn on where it's just the camera. The camera is full screen. It's not the camera as an overlay. Then let me turn interview mode on. And if I go back to my Stream Deck, if I do, there you go. So I added the guest to the left. If I want to solo the guest, so apparently my FaceTime camera is soloing the guest. And so all I'm doing is just pressing the buttons. So add left. Hey, hold on. Add right. So let's go back. There we are. So solo the guest, add left, add right. It swaps it. And then if you want to go solo. So I don't use that because the way I build out my scenes when I have interviews is that I actually build out my scenes and I duplicate scenes. That can be a whole nother stream next week about, that'll be actually a good stream, how I build out my scenes and my overlays and my folders when I bring guests on. Because what I do is let's just go back to the better camera. What I'll do is I'll duplicate a scene, right? So I will duplicate this scene here. And it'll be twice. So, and then what I do is I'll label it India main. Then the secondary, the duplication will be called guest main. And so what I do then at that point is I go into the camera overlay option. I go into guest. And so when I'm bringing the guests in, I assign them to whatever guest. So if it's just going to be one guest, they're by default guest number 1. I assign them the guest ahead of time. And so when I go through my scenes, because I did the pre-work and every scene has a camera overlay with the guest 1 in each scene, when you're bringing them into the green room, and you assign them automatically, it's going to automatically put them in all of those boxes as you switch through scenes. We'll go over that. We'll do a live demo next week. But because of the way I do my pre-work for interviews, I don't have to use, let's just go back to the screen share option. Where are you? Right there. I actually don't use these options for the guest and stuff like that, but I can see how people would use it. And so I'm just going back to look at my comments. I'm going to bring my iPad really close to me because my handwriting. So what happens is, don't judge me. I write because I'm using my iPad Pro. I'm actually writing larger than what it looks like on the actual mini. And my notes just started downloading from the cloud again. So we'll leave that. That's weird. So that's it as far as what I'm going to go over in the free mini masterclass on Thursdays. Because then it's the thought process is, hey, sign up for my full-blown masterclass where you get everything and we go through all of the details. And that's it that I'm going over as far as eCam tomorrow. Then the next thing that I'm going to go over in the class itself is we're going to go over the most popular plugin that probably every single one of us use all the time is the Zoom plugin, right? So just understanding mute toggle, video toggle, sharing and leave meeting. That's actually all I use. Asking all to unmute and mute. That's if you're really the host or a co-host, then you can use that. I don't use that too much because I'm usually coming in, even when I give the presentations for the bank, I'm coming in as a guest presenter. So I'm never the host. So what they do is they actually spotlight me. So I don't have access to mute and unmute. I'll use it tomorrow and for these webinars, but what I mostly use for Zoom are these top 4, the mute toggle, video toggle, focus, and leave meeting. I have that there as well. So we're going to go over Zoom, and then we are going to go over the soundboard, but not necessarily the soundboard, but what it's actually going to be is the music store and the sound effects store. So just explaining that you can get free royalty-free music, so you don't have to pay Epidemic Sound. You don't have to pay audio. You don't have to pay Artlist. This is free royalty-free music that with Stream Deck, what you have to do is you have to go to your settings, and under accounts, you have to add the YouTube account. So I have it from home. So I've already connected my YouTube account to my Stream Deck in the home studio. But once you link your YouTube account, that's where Stream Deck, Elgato, not Stream Deck, but Elgato and YouTube communicate, so that if you are using, and I'm going to close that out. If you do use, where's my store? Any of the music that you find here, don't stop believing. Can we listen to this? That's really loud. Sorry, guys. And so basically, if you want to preview it, you can see the beats per minute. You can see that this song is 2 minutes and 11 seconds long. You have your playhead. So if you just hit play, it's going to download from the beginning. Let's say I want to see what this beat drops, what this sounds like. Let me lower that so you can see. So that's the one thing, if you are going to use royalty-free music from the Stream Deck store, you need loopback. You absolutely need loopback because it's its own audio source and it's coming in from your computer, and Ecamm won't pick it up. So you have to create, the way I did, a virtual mic, and you search for the application. You can see here I have Stream Deck. So what I'm going to do is just bring this down. Let's say 20%. That should be better for you guys. It's still really loud for me. But anyway, so if you like that, let me just close loopback. So that's how you get your royalty-free music. You can see here. So we're going to spend not a good amount of time, but I'm going to go over like genre. So usually the music I use, so like the intro music that I've been using, well, that's a sound effect, but like this song here, and I put that, you guys should still be able to hear it. But like that song there, that's from the Stream Deck. If I just go back, right? So I'll do hip hop, and you can see without filtering it, there are over 10,000 songs available. You have your genre here. They have a bunch of different genres. I'll do hip hop, I'll do R&B. And so if we just do R&B, and you can like do double things. So if you want like corporate R&B, now there's 4,900 songs available. And so there's like this outro. I actually have this song, I think. I do have that song. So you can just listen to all of these. That's not bad. So if you like that, you just hit download. Is that not working? Hey, what's happening here? Let me see. Well, that one downloaded. Okay, so the top one downloaded. Not sure why that one's not downloading. But basically, you would download. That's weird. Why isn't this one downloading? Not sure why this Audio Top Corporate isn't downloading, but I just downloaded two with you guys. This Destination Optimistic and this Confidence Allure. You can, if you look here, under instrument, you can specify if there's a mood. You can also specify, you can choose the tempo, so how the beats per minute, and then you can also do duration, right? Because some of these are, so like you have this 30-second outro. If I'm looking for my countdown music for my intro scene, I actually just go in and I'll filter this to like starting at, let's say, 3 minutes. So if I start it at, let's do 2 minutes and 57 seconds. If I go in now, it's 1,404 songs available, but it'll filter it for me. So as I go, you do the same exact thing with sound effects. Not as many options to filter within the sound effects. You have your duration, and then you have your categories. And then from within your categories, you just have like clicks, computer, dogs. So if you click on dogs, you have all of these, right? Like dog bark, fast dog breathing, small suburb dog barks. Like what? Anyway, so you can just mess around with that. You can see all, and then the same thing. So there's 95 sound effects under the dogs selection. If I clear all the selections, again, another 10,000 sound effects categories. And so what you do is at that point, let's go back to page 3. And then, oh God, Roxanne, hi girl. And I am going to be in my 40s in like 4 months. And I'm already, Angie, listen, earlier today, Angie was like close to me. You know, she wasn't in my face. She wasn't kissing me, but she was close to me. And I'm like, I literally had to push her shoulder back. I was like, babe, you're too close to me. I can't see you. And I was like, how depressing is that? Anyway, so like nearsighted. Yeah. Anyway, thank you, Paul. Paul is reminding you guys the Stream Deck store. So what I want to show you is just going back to this. We searched the store. We found music that we like. We found sound effects that we like. So now this soundboard, that's the default option for the music from within the Stream Deck. So you have to do play audio. And then when you do play audio, down here, you see it says choose. And once you go to choose, it actually opens up the Finder window for you where it places the songs and the sound effects that you downloaded from the music store. Excuse me. And so what do we do today? So you can see today I downloaded these two. So I'm going to do open for that one. I'm going to, and you can also copy and paste. So you can do Control C on the first one, this one that says confidence. I'm going to highlight this second empty one. I'm going to Command V. And now that pasted the same exact thing. So instead of like dragging over first world problems, whatever works for you. But now what I want to do is I'm actually going to hit choose and I'm going to change this to the second one, destination, open. And if we look a little bit further down, we have some options, right? So what's the action? Do you want it to play? And when you press the button again, do you want it to stop? Do you want it to play overlap? Do you want it to play? And then when you press the button again, it's going to restart, or do you want it to loop/stop? I use loop if there's a song that I really like. And let's say it's a minute or 2 minutes long. So when I'm home, some of those music tracks that I use are shorter ones, like 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And my countdown, my intro timer is actually for 3 minutes. So that's where I do the loop/start. So like that, it starts again until my 3 minutes are up. I always do, for the music itself, I always do fade in and fade out. And I usually leave it about 2 to 3 seconds. But what I do is I always lower the volume because this can be really loud. So 10% is good. Let me make sure, let me open up loopback again and bring loopback up to 100%. And so if I press this confidence, you guys should be able to hear that. Yeah, that's playing. Right? And so if I press it again, you saw that it slowly, I have this at home. It slowly faded in. I'm going to press it again and it's going to slowly. And then what I like, and it does it on the Stream Deck mobile app, but it also does it on the Stream Deck itself, is that on the Stream Deck, it will show you the countdown of how much longer the song is playing. And it shows you a visual of what the song is playing. There you go. So you can see, right, the timer. So it's telling you how much of the song is playing. And then it's a visual that to let you know that that's what's playing. So if I press the button again, and then it slowly fades out. I do not pay for royalty-free music. I get all of my music from, there are more than enough songs on there. And because no one really knows about it, chances are I'll have a more unique song than someone else, because people are usually using Epidemic or Artlist or Audio or something like that. And like I mentioned yesterday, lean back. I know. Listen, that lean back is real for me. I told Angie, I was like, listen, it's like mentally messing me up because the realism of getting older is depressing, bro. Anyway, let me see if my note, I don't know why my note that I did for you guys or from my thing Now it's like doing, I think I'm going to have to, I don't know. It's doing a weird, let me see if I check from my iPad Pro. Let me see this right here, this iPad Pro. Let me get it away from my face. Well, this is big enough, so. All right, that one. Okay, cool. So I can see it from here. And this one, I don't need to do the lean back. It's like right here. It's perfect. Where are we? So we're going to go over the Zoom plugin. We're going to go over royalty-free music. The other thing that I'm going to go over is I already showed you guys how to link your YouTube account so that you don't get copyright strikes. And if you do, if it is a mistake and it happens that you get a copyright strike from the music, you can actually appeal it. And then you can say that you get your music from the Stream Deck store. YouTube will do its research and you should win that appeal. So I'm going to give a link to that article because Elgato has an article in their support site that shows what the steps are if you need to do an appeal for getting a copyright strike. And I mentioned, I believe it's stored. I have to double check. I'm 98% sure that Elgato partnered with Storyblocks for their royalty-free music. And then a bonus feature. So the bonus feature that we're going to do, and it's kind of like a bonus, but not because I created a video for it. I also created a video on the music and stuff. But the bonus feature is, if depending on how much time we have and stuff like that, is just how to customize your Stream Deck icons, whether it's downloading an icon pack, like from LSP has an icon pack. I actually found another place called Icon City that they offer icon packs, and they're not, like LSP, it's $20, their icon packs, live streaming pros. And I think it's like over 100 to 200 different icons. They give you different colors and stuff like that. The place that I found earlier today, Icon City, they start at $5, which is actually pretty inexpensive, but they're, some of them are app specific. So like they have a app specific icon pack for Slack, for Microsoft Teams, for I think PowerPoint, Google Drive, Google Docs and things. They actually have one for ClickUp, which I thought was interesting. They had an icon pack for ClickUp. So just showing the different options with that and how you can customize them. And I probably won't have time to create a custom icon, but then I can link them to my YouTube video. So that is what I'm going to be going over. You guys got kind of a sneak peek and a dry run of the masterclass that I kind of rushed through it, but not. Let's just go back to my main scene and let me check in on you guys here. So I got to go all the way up. Let's see. All right. So Paul was telling me, I did see that comment that Paul has 232 buttons. Didn't you just get the second one? I think you had texted me and told me you had gotten the second one from Best Buy. No, I'm good. So, but it's kind of like me having a loop deck and a stream deck. It's in theory the same thing. So I cannot talk. Does unlock the door require a smart lock? In my house, it does, Kevin. It does. Marga Garmez will be in Miami. Oh, I saw that right for the show. I think that she had posted it. That her show got picked up. Is it the spanking machine? I'm like, listen, you need to come like somewhere on the Northeast, man. That's really cool. I'm excited for her. I'm glad that the pandemic is helping. Well, now the ending of the pandemic is helping her get back into things, because I know that really affected her business as a comedian. So that's really cool. Haven't had time to play. It's all right. You'll learn some stuff mañana. Let me see. Find the way. You guys are funny. All right. Kevin is reminding you guys. Thank you. Don't forget to hit that like button. Appreciate you. Just coming back. Hey, Sean. What's cracking? Mr. Information Media Live. Very cool. Once again, lean back. You know what? Leave me alone. There you go. See, Paul is on it. iconcity.uk.co. It was really cool. And you know what caught my attention? I am going to download them and try them. What caught my attention is that some of the packs can be interchangeable with the Loop Deck and the Ecamm. Not Ecamm, the Stream Deck. That I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool thing. What is poppin', Pirate Broadcast Live? So I've been streaming for right over an hour. So much for short, but that was good. You guys helped me with a dry run. I feel, although I felt confident going into it, but I think that a half an hour, I'll probably go a little bit over a half an hour. But then it goes back to, hey, Ken, what is going on? Thank you for coming through. I appreciate you. But then it goes into then testing, right? A regular format versus the webinar format. Because if I do end up getting questions and I'm not even halfway through, not that I don't want to answer questions, then I may need to do kind of that webinar style format. So, and then the other thing that I'm going to do, so it's going to be through Zoom. It is going to be pre-recorded. Paul should be, as long as his schedule doesn't change, Paul will be around to help me be the co-host. So he'll be muting everyone. If they have questions, they can put the questions in the chat. And Paul is also very knowledgeable with the Stream Deck. So if it's a simple question that he can answer, that can help to alleviate where I'm just teaching and answering questions that way. And then it's going to be pre-recorded. And what I'm going to do is that I'm actually going to then upload that video under an unlisted video on my YouTube channel that only the people who register for the event will have access to it. So they can get the replay if they were on it and they just want to kind of go through it little by little. Or if they happen to miss it, they registered, but then they missed it. One of the post emails will be for them with the link to get the unlisted video, if that makes sense. My schedule is not going to change. Okay, Paul. Gosh. Oh, I kicked the camera. I kicked the tripod. Sheesh. Remember to sign up for the Stream Deck Mini Masterclass here. Paul is reminding you guys there. Ecamm on deck. I'm actually very excited for that. Still do this evening, even though I can still, yes, so you can. So tomorrow, so you can come in tomorrow to the webinar and you'll see what the Stream Deck can do. It is a focus with Ecamm because I'm partnering with Ecamm for the 5-year Stream Deck anniversary. So in theory, I guess you can come in because the way we're going to show running scenes would work the same exact way. You switch scenes and you add and hide your overlays in OBS. The thought process and that structure looks the same. So although the software is different, the Stream Deck button will be the same. And then in Zoom, that's going to work for you. The music, it's going to work. So definitely, if you have time, register, Ken, because you'll be able to use. And the Stream Deck I would say the Stream Deck is actually more popular with Windows users than what it is for Mac users, because usually gamers will buy Windows PCs because you can customize it, and Macs are not meant to be gaming PCs, gaming computers. And so gamers and streamers will use the Stream Deck to like help with their live streams and stuff like that. But anyway. All right. So, yes, overlays. Yes. All right, guys. We're going to do what we do. Turn on our music. 48 days to go. So we are 52 days in, right over the halfway mark. Really excited. Got a lot of stuff going on, both as an entrepreneur, as a content creator, as a banker. The 40-mile TD Bank 5-borough bike tour is on Sunday. I got a little bit of anxiety about that because I haven't really cycled this year. So I'm a little anxious about that. Like, I'm excited, but I'm also like worried. So, you know, cycling season is coming up, and so it is, I feel like it's going to be challenging the second half, because now where the first half I wasn't cycling, I will go back to cycling. And usually the good thing is that I usually cycle during the day, but what that means is that I'm going to be tired at night. I'd be down for the count when I cycle for like 30 miles. I'd be down for the count. So that'll be interesting that now once I start my cycling again, on Saturday, we have a first-time home buyer expo, and that event is from 11 to 4:30 for me. It's an hour and a half away from my house. So if it ends, let's say it ends at 4. Yeah, 4:30, because by the time I pack up and stuff, that means I won't get home till 6. And then I'm going to stream with Gigi for ladies night. So Saturday we'll probably push the stream back a little bit to like 8 or 9, because I know I'm going to be tired. And I'm one of their presenters. There's 3 presenters. I'm one of their presenters. 250 households registered. So Saturday I know I'm going to be tired. So a handful of expos coming up for myself in the bank. And just fitting all of that stuff in. And then we have the eCam takeover. I have my masterclass that I'm doing. So the next 50 days or 48 days, there's going to be even more focus, I feel like, than what it has been the first 50 days, because I'm going to get busier with a handful of different things. So discipline at its finest. Yes, man, that's it. But gonna make it happen. All right, you guys, I appreciate you guys. I will catch you guys tomorrow. We'll be short, but if you want to be a part of the eCam on Deck class, come through, because now I have the live overlay here. But come through, sign up and register, hang out. If you have a Stream Deck, or if you're thinking about getting a Stream Deck, I'm using the Stream Deck app, so you can still take the class even if you don't have a Stream Deck. If Pastor Vaughn is still here, you can use the Stream Deck app. It's $25 a year or $3 a month. And so I signed up for this, and I pay for it because of situations like I am now. I don't need to carry around my Stream Deck, but I do want to have shortcuts on the go, which works very good in a situation like this. So you'll learn a thing or two. All right, you guys. Oh, Irvin, you just came through and I'm ending. See, the music ended. Normally I would have had end, but I would have. You got this. I've seen your organization. Thank you. I appreciate you. I literally was about to hit end, Irving, but I saw your name and I had to at least acknowledge you. But we are on the end scene, so you know what that is. But I will catch you guys. I'm going to link up with Keith. I'm going to see if I go see him next week or something like that. So maybe the 3 of us can get together. All right, you guys. I appreciate you guys.